The Cincinnati Bengals, a team that made it all the way to the Super Bowl last year, obviously a great year. They made a lot of key additions this offseason, and I think they've built an even better team than they had last year, so they're primed to go back to the playoffs and try to make another deep playoff run. But I think one of their most surprising guys is a guy that is no surprise to anybody else, and we'll get into that story a little bit later in the video. But before we get there, Bengals fans, let us know in the comments below. NFL season's starting, but what else is starting is college football season. And we want to know, Cincinnati, Ohio, let us know, is it more, University of Cincinnati fans? Is it more the Ohio State University fans? Is there Ohio Bobcats guys out there? Or is there like a, Miami of Ohio guys out there? Let us know in the comments, what is your favorite college team? We really want to know. But Nick, who's really standing out in this Bengals training camp?
Yeah, so it's none other than Jamar Chase, according to Bengals. Yeah, I mean, it's no, like you said, no big surprise here. But what's surprising then, he's looking even better this year than he was last year, which is a huge, huge statement. This is according to Bengals Wire. There's an understandable degree of skepticism recently when a Cincinnati Bengals player suggested Jamar Chase looked even better this year in the early goings of training camp. After all, Chase had that rookie season where he posted 1,400 plus yards and 13 touchdowns, making him one of the best debut receivers since Randy Moss. And despite the lack of Joe Burrow under center, though, Chase has been the star of the show in training camp anyway. There are moments like this via Dan Howard where he powers through the coverage and it's hard to take your eyes off him. He's just been an absolutely dominating force. According later in the report, they said there has been a simple fact that pretty much nobody can cover him. The ball actually gets to him. There's been highlights all over the internet of him roasting guys like Eli Apple. I mean, he looks absolutely fantastic. So what do you think of Jamar Chase? I mean, obviously he was dynamic last year, and this whole Bengals offense was dynamic last year. But if he's actually better this year, I mean, doesn't that just push them even farther and they become even more of a dangerous team?
Well, one thing I want Bengals fans to, remember here is obviously Jamar Chase is an elite receiver. So don't feel too bad for your defense when you're looking in practice and you're getting roasted. Obviously, now I'm a Baltimore fan, and if our DBs were getting roasted by our receivers, it'd be a little bit concerning. Okay, but when you've got like Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, you Tyler Boyd's, those are guys completely understandable. Hayden Hurst, totally understandable for your DBs to be struggling a little bit, but that's what we hang our laurel on. Yes, it looks like Jamar Chase, by all accounts, is back to his form, and if there's any, thoughts about this, Nick, it's that a lot of receivers who started out early in their career, like as a rookie doing really well, they seem to go nowhere but up in their second year. And I think we have a couple of numbers to look at.
Yeah, let's go ahead and show that right now. So three guys that kind of jumped out recently in the past few years that were early draft picks that took kind of the number 1 or number 1A, number 1B, their top flight receivers for their teams. Looking at Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, CeeDee Lamb for Dallas, A.J. Brown for the Tennessee Titans. And all three of these guys, we kind of picked these three guys because, they're obviously early draft picks, but they all had really nice rookie years. But look at that jump between year 1 and year 2 for all three of these guys. They built off of those nice rookie years and got even better as a football players and certainly more productive. Justin Jefferson obviously is the ideal. Look at those stats last year. I think people kind of slept a little bit on Justin Jefferson, how good those numbers were, probably overshadowed by a guy like Jamar Chase. But the larger fact here is that we can see that there is no sophomore slump for star receivers. And not only is there no sophomore slump, there's data to support that Jamar Chase could actually be more productive this season. And he's going to need to be, because there's going to be a lot of situations with a lot of coverages the Bengals are going to face that they kind of take away a lot of the big plays and, force the Bengals to kind of win one-on-one matchups and win contested catches, a lot more at a higher frequency than they had to do last season. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs, right? In fact, Bengals fans are very well aware of the fact of using coverages to eliminate big plays. That put a lot of trouble on Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. So when you look at what the Bengals have to do this season, it's going to be relying a lot on a guy like Jamar Chase to win those one-on-one matchups and be much, much more productive in a lot of cases. And so far, he looks like he's, well on his way to doing that.
Yeah, and if you look anything, the closest comparison to him, I would say rookie year-wise, would be a guy like Justin Jefferson. Yeah. Who, if he's a shade of Justin Jefferson, which it seems like he is, you're going to be very happy with the guy that you have on the field. But, I look at Jefferson being the most productive out of those three in year 1, obviously, similarly, that 1,400-yard mark. I think Jamar Chase could hit that 1,700 yard season if he gets enough big plays. And that's the Bengals offense predicated on those big plays. And Chase is a guy who can go out and get them. I think he obviously has an uptick in touchdowns. And I think that's not talent based on him. I think that's just because you have a lot more talent on this offense. I think a guy like Hayden Hurst will get less red zone touches and more third down touches. So like Uzama's red zone touches will go to Chase. So I think Chase will have an uptick in yards, uptick in touchdowns, and probably even an uptick in receptions, don't you think?
Yeah, he definitely needs to, be more productive in terms of, you brought up the fact of making him, more big plays or the same amount of big plays. I think it's going to be actually less big plays, at least as a percentage of his output, and more sort of those intermediate routes. He's going to have to be a lot more of those 8-9 yard, in breaking, out breaking routes, a lot of hitches, a lot of slants, because teams are going to really try and take away his big playability down the field, just because, they literally won games and almost won the Super Bowl with those kind of big plays. Teams are literally going to do everything they can using scheme and personnel to try to eliminate that. And what that means is a guy like Chase, and he's got the talent to do this, has to win those one-on-one matchups and, almost use his run after catch ability to generate big plays. I know you're a Ravens fan. You're very well aware of Jamar Chase's run after catch ability. He obviously did a number of Baltimore last season a couple of times, and he's going to have to do a lot more of that this season as teams try to scheme away those, those big aggressive plays down the field.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.